Hello and welcome to the Elsie Black Oral History Project. My name is Eileen Hyland. This project is all about sharing and preserving the real life stories of people living in social housing in Ireland, with a focus on Clúid housing. We want to highlight the everyday experiences, the memories and the voices of residents, the stories that often go unnoticed. It's about recognising the value of these communities and making sure their stories are heard and remembered. Today is the 13th of May 2025 and we're talking with Margaret de Buff, who lives at Ard Carrig, Carrigtwohill, County Cork. So welcome, Margaret.
Thank you, Eileen. Thank you.
So it's an unusual name.
It is. My father-in-law came from Belgium and my husband was Welsh. So there's a mixture there, yeah.
And your own name?
And my previous name is Walsh.
Walsh, okay.
Walsh, yeah.
All right. Do you get much reaction about the name?
I do. And you'd be surprised how many people get it wrong.
Really?
I'm called everything and anything that you could think of. I have to spell it out, really.
What's the worst? What's the usual? What way do they say?
D-bus. I could be called D-bus.
Yeah.
Or D-butt or something. You know, you really have to spell it out. And it's as you see it, really, D-buff.
That's how they say it. Yeah. Right. Okay, great. Yeah. So that's your name, and so tell me a little bit about where you were born and when you were born.
Now, I was born in 1953 and I was born in Youghal, County Cork. My parents are both Irish. My mother came from Coolay and my father came from Knockadoon, and they were both Gaeltacht areas. They met in St. Raphael's Hospital in Youghal, where they worked, and they decided to go to England to, I suppose, seek their fortune, which many people had to go then. And my elder sister was born there. Then things weren't great over there, and they decided to come back. So I was born then in Youghal, and I'd say a year later, they had to move back again. So they did go back to London, Shepherd's Bush, London, where eventually we got a council house, which was lovely, very happy there. So we went on to have another sister and a brother. And we were all kind of reared there then, and it was lovely. We loved being there. But then again, they decided that it wasn't the place to bring up children at the time. And it was always their dream to come back. So they eventually came back. I think it was in about 67, 68.
So how old would you have been then?
I was actually 12 when we came back to Ireland. And that was a complete shell shock for us. Excuse me.
So you came back as a London city
girl. London with our Cockney accents and everything. And we lost it along the way anyway. But yes, they got a house, which was from the council. It was a cottage on an acre. And
whereabouts was that?
That was in Ladies Bridge.
Okay.
In Ladies Bridge. So we went, it was a complete culture shock for us. No water, no light, no heating, outside toilet, no street lighting, which we were always used to. We were terrified. Actually, we were scared there, and we missed our friends and everything. It was a big, shake-up for us.
And what about your parents, do you think? Were they happy to have made the move?
Oh, they were.
Really?
Oh, they were. They were very happy. They always wanted to come home, But, things were picking up then when they came home. So my dad got a job in the local factory. My mother went back to the hospital working. And we were all going to school in Ladies Bridge. But we couldn't understand that either because we were all in one class, first, second, third, fourth, fifth year, all in the one room.
Oh my goodness, so that was a really small place.
A very small place, it was. A little village, yeah. And there was nothing there really. We couldn't wait to leave home and come back to the town, Middleton,
Yeah.
So eventually that's what we did, the girls of us.
So tell me about the house that you moved into. So it was a council house?
The cottage, is it?
Yeah, the cottage.
Yes, yeah. It was a council property.
Right.
Yeah, and I remember the rent. I remember my mother saying the rent was so cheap at the time, but of course that's when money was money, really,
Yeah. And what was the facilities there then? You say there was no water?
We had no running water. We had to walk to a pump, I suppose a good half-mile away, to draw water.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and we had no light. It was the tilly lamps, is it? Paraffin, I think they were run off of. And then we had we had only a fireplace, and I think Mum used to do the cooking there for a while.
Wow.
Until she got a cooker in and everything, you know. It was a big shock to us as kids, you know. But
I'm sure you resented it a bit almost.
we did. Yeah, we lost all our friends and everything, do you know, and we just didn't really want to be there. And we were a bit more advanced when we came over from England, you know, and like even to say my sister now was wearing stockings at the time. Oh, they had to be taken off her. She had to go back into bobby socks. Yeah, because she was older than me. And I think we were held back a bit, you know.
So it was a really rural community.
Very
as
rural,
well, then.
very rural.
And was there much of a welcome for new people in that community? Did you feel
we
welcomed
did,
or
not really,
not?
not really, because at the time they used to slap the children at school. And I remember my mother went up and she said, they never got slapped in England. And then it was awful because the teacher, when something was wrong and somebody didn't own up, everyone got slapped. And we'd put our hand out because we didn't want to be different from the others, and he wouldn't do it. He passed us. So we felt awful, and I'd say there was a bit of resentment there.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah,
I can
do
imagine.
you know, yeah. But then we went on to secondary school in Middleton.
And was that a bit better? And things had probably improved even at home, had they, at that stage? With
Oh,
the
they
house?
had, yes. I mean, they had started to do the work there and maybe get the water in, you know. It wasn't easy, but they did do it, you know. But, yeah, eventually everything was in place then.
And how did you get into Middleton every day for school?
There was a bus. We had to walk to Ladies Bridge, which was, I suppose it was a good 2.5 miles from where we lived.
No way.
Yeah. And then we picked a bus up. Actually, we have to walk to Castlemartyr, I think, the next village, and get a bus there. But when we were in Ladies Bridge, we had to walk to the school every day and back every day. Wow. It was terrible, yeah.
That was a big change.
It was, because we were used to using the tubes in England and everything, in the buses, you know, so that was a big change.
So that was the house you grew up in.
Yes.
And, you've described it for me pretty much, so it was very isolated. Did you have neighbours even close by?
I'd say the nearest neighbour was nearly half a mile away on either side of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, very isolated.
You know, very isolated, yeah.
Yeah. And the living conditions were poor, obviously, when you got there.
Very, very poor, very poor. I mean, it was only a 2-bedroom cottage, and like there was 4 of us there.
Oh my goodness.
Well, 4 children and 2 parents, yeah. So.
And did you wonder why your parents had brought you back? Did you question it, or was it always on the cards that they'd try and get back?
I think it was always on the cards. It's what they wanted to do, and I suppose it was safer at the time to bring children up here. It's not so much now, I don't think, but yeah, they always, it was their dream to come back, you know.
Okay. So did you live there then all of your childhood in that house? Until
I left school.
Until you left
I left school, which I was only a couple of years because I left at 14.
Did you?
I did, yeah. And I got a job and I was working then, from then on. Yeah.
Okay.
You know.
So when you started working then, where did you work?
I worked in an electrical and radio shop, which also sold records, you know. All the they were not CDs then, they were singles and LPs, you know, and I loved that. I was there for years until I met my husband and got married.
All right, and was that close by? Was that?
Oh yeah, we were living. My sister and I rented a room in Middleton over a hairdresser's. It was £2 a week. It was a bedsit really, 1 room and a little kitchenette and a bathroom, small bathroom. But then we only were up the road from that. She was working for a coal merchant, Sutton's Coals, and I was working for that shop just up the road.
So that was a great adventure at 14,
it
was
was.
Did you feel very grown up?
We did, yeah. We felt grown up, and I'd say my poor mother was heartbroken. We couldn't wait to get away from that place. You know, there was nothing in Ladies Bridge. You know, nothing, no recreation thing or anything.
And would you have gone back home then at weekends? And
Oh,
things?
always.
Or did you?
Always, yeah. we always went back every weekend, and up until they died, we were there every Sunday. Yeah, we were.
And would your mum make a fussy then and
Oh, yes,
cook and
she would.
on
And
Sunday? And
I'm ashamed to say we used to bring her bags of washing home, and she'd have it all done by the time we go back Monday morning. God bless them.
that was lovely.
It was.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So you had a big change then going into Middleton and being on your own.
Yes.
And you had a landlord, so you had to pay your rent.
That's right,
and
yes.
cover your job. And
Yeah.
I suppose it was the first time you had a bit of freedom then with money as well, or did you have to give it to your mum?
No, because I remember the rent was £2 a week, and my wages were £3.50. So my poor sister was getting more than me. So very often she used to pay the rent, you know.
Yeah.
But we're very close today, to this day, you know.
That's great.
Yeah.
So why did you move from there then? So where did you go from that little flat?
Well, from that little flat then, I in the meantime, I suppose I had met my husband by the time I was 16.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, sure, I was married at 19. And then we were on the council housing list after getting married. And we thought we'd get a house, but no. Things were very different in those days too, you know. And we were told because we had no children, we wouldn't get a house. And I said to the councillor one day, I said, that's not my problem, because I didn't have my own children. And, well, he says, you won't be housed.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and he told me, prove it, which was horrible.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So anyway, eventually we had to live in other flats. So we spent a lot of years living in flats. And eventually the council offered us a site, one of these service sites, you know, just up the Mill Road in Middleton, and to build our own house. So we had to do that then.
And how long were you married at that stage? Would you say?
I suppose I was 6 or 7 years.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe.
So you were on the list all that time?
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
And like there was loads of, I was told at one stage I was second on the list, and then they were all given out again, and I never got one.
Gosh.
You know, so we had to go into debt to actually get a house.
No.
But look, we did it and we got through it. You know, we had a lovely bungalow.
So you got to build your own house
We
then,
got to
did
build
you?
our own house on the site from the council.
Right. And
Yeah.
was your husband a handy kind of a guy? Was he able
He
to
was
do it?
great at painting and everything. He
Okay,
was.
yeah.
He was. Yeah.
But you got somebody to build the house for you?
Oh yes, we got. It was at Glenside Homes. Have you ever heard of them at the time? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of those. It was a bungalow, 3-bedroom bungalow, right in the front. It was beautiful.
That must have been a great improvement then. From
Oh, it was
and a
fantastic.
place of your own. Did
Yeah.
you get that sense that it was forever home? Like,
Yes, we did. We did.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we had a dream too, to have a cafe.
Oh,
And first of all, we rented one, which was, we should have stayed doing that.
in Middleton?
In Middleton, yeah. It was part of the Middleton Leisure Centre. And we were there for a few years. Of course, then we wanted to get our own place. So we sold our bungalow for half nothing to buy a restaurant on the Mill Road, put a fortune into it. That's another whole story. You probably haven't time for that.
Oh dear, these are the
Yeah.
ups and downs, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah. So with this property here then, you're in Ard Carrig
Tool
here in
now.
Ard Carrig. And
Yes.
when did you move in here?
Now I moved in, I think it was 2019. I'm here 6 years now. The 13th, that's today, the 13th of May, imagine.
Your anniversary.
My anniversary, yes.
And was the place here long before you moved in, do you think?
Well, it's here, I think 14 years in all. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So can you tell me how you came to live here?
Right. As I was previously said about the restaurant and everything, well, we were there for 18 years in that restaurant, and things were okay, you know. We got a living out of it. I wouldn't say we made a fortune, but we got a living and we were happy doing it. And then I suppose the crash came, and things were getting bad and custom was slow and all that. So we decided to sell it. But in the meantime, my husband got cancer and he died.
Oh my goodness, sorry to hear that.
So that left me then with the whole place. I had to keep the door opened because obviously it was being sold as a going concern. And then unfortunately I got cancer. Yeah. So I had to pull back from it then, you know, and actually leave it go for nothing, just to pay the mortgage.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must
So
be very hard.
very hard, very hard, yeah.
After all those years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I was literally homeless then.
Really?
Yeah. Only for my daughter, obviously, that your own will take you in. But I had put my name down for a house or a flat or something, a roof over my head.
Yeah.
And I met another brick wall because they wanted me, while I was being treated for cancer, to go up to the homeless and register with them, you know. And I even got a letter from my oncologist. He said that can't happen, you know, that this woman needs to be housed. So I was waiting and waiting, and I lived with my daughter, and then I gave her a break because she was rearing her own two boys, you know, and I moved in with my sister for a while, and eventually this place came up, you know. But I had a dog then, and my heart was broken because I had to give up my dog. But she took my dog, my daughter did, so I still see her, which is great.
Well, that's really hard.
Yeah.
So you got this place, but there was no animals allowed?
No animals allowed, no.
Oh, gosh.
No.
Yeah.
And it's a pity because I think it would be good for people in their elder years. See, I know people think that what will happen to them after if something happened to the person, you know. But one should have all that in place, really, if they were going to, but they don't allow it, so end of
It's a great
story.
comfort to have an animal, though.
Oh,
isn't
it is.
Yeah.
I'll say my dog got me through my cancer,
Wow.
and losing my husband, it all came together, and losing my place. It all came together, and she actually saved me, yeah, you know. But then I knew a counsellor in Middleton, and I went up to him and I said, look, can you do anything? So he said, there's a few places in Carrig, and people don't seem to want them. Would you go to Carrig? So I said at this stage, yes, I'd take anything, you know. So he got onto the scheme manager at the time, Davina, and she sent for me to have an interview and handed me the keys that day.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
And it's a beautiful apartment.
Lovely. I was actually in a different one, first of all.
Yeah.
In the other side of the building. But because I had been sick, you know, my grandson needed to stay with me at times. So I got the 2-bedroom when it became available, which was great.
So
But
describe what you have here. So you're up on the second floor.
I'm on the second floor, on the front of the building, so it's beautiful. The sun comes in all the time. And I have a 2-bedroom apartment, and I love it now. I wouldn't move for anything, you know. But having said that, the minute I came in here, like, you get a sense of, I thought I was going into a home first of all, you know, but I suppose maybe anyone I spoke to felt the same. But then I got to know people here, and I wouldn't move now. If I won the lotto, I don't think I'd move, but they'd throw me out then probably.
It's a beautiful apartment, and you have everything so nice, and it feels so homely when you come in.
It's very homely, very homely, yeah.
And it seems like a lovely building.
It is a beautiful building, yeah. Yeah, and we have, you know, it's reasonable enough. Doesn't break the bank, and you can get by, you can live compared to the way things were.
That's great. So your first impressions when you came here and to this area, so from Middleton, how far is
5
this?
miles.
Oh, it's not too far.
5 miles, no. It's not too far, but I had never been much in Carrig, only passed through it, you know. So you'd be kind of apprehensive, to say the least, you know. But actually, no, I fitted in well. I know a lot of the people, the villages, they all seem to know us now, you know. You get to meet everyone eventually.
Great. And the actual place itself, when you came, you were impressed with the building and
I was. Once I got in here, it was like a hotel. You know, it seemed like a hotel. It was lovely. And we've beautiful gardens out the back where we can sit out and we can have our fish and chip night. And it's actually like, when we get this weather, it's like being in Spain. Yeah.
You can't argue with that.
No.
It's fabulous.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So what does home mean to you? You've moved around a fair bit now over the years in different situations.
I have, yeah. It's just that I feel I am settled now, and I know this will be my last move, you know, and I love it. And as I say, I've great neighbours, and it's so secure here too, which is very good, you know.
Yeah, I think that's really important as
Very
you get older too, isn't
very
it? That
important.
sense that you're in a safe place.
You are, and we have like all the facilities. If God forbid you need an ambulance or anything, we have a button to press there, and they're there almost immediately. You know, so it is a wonderful place to stay.
That's fabulous. So for you then, what difference did it make to get a home with Clwyd from where you were before to get this home?
Oh, it made a huge difference, and they're very good. I mean, if you had a repair that you needed doing or anything, they're on top of it straight away. I couldn't fault them at all. I have nothing bad to say about them.
That's very good. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So what has been the biggest change for you living here?
I suppose being on my own. You know, it was a big, I don't know how you describe it really, from being with someone all the time and you know yourself, and then finding out you're on your own. Even though my daughter only lives in Middleton, and I do see them a lot, you know, but sometimes you say to yourself, God, I'm really on my own, you know, behind it all, you know, but that's life. You've got to get used to it, and I have.
That's great, yeah. I mean, it's an adjustment for sure.
It is a big adjustment.
Yeah.
It is, you know,
Yeah.
when you go from working and living with someone to then being on your own. There was times I didn't think I'd get through it, you know, but I thank God I got out the other end.
That's great. So obviously the living conditions have improved a lot over the years. When you think of when your mum and dad came.
Oh yes, oh my
from
gosh.
London.
Yeah, that was horrendous.
Such a primitive place.
Oh, it was.
It's hard to believe it's only that many years ago that people lived like that.
That's all, yeah.
And you have to put up with it. They were great people, weren't they?
They were great people. They were, my goodness, yeah. They were, you know.
Okay. So how do you think people outside the community view social housing?
I suppose long ago there might have been a bit of stigma about it. I don't think it's relevant now somehow, you know. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't have any qualms about it, obviously, you know.
And would you ever have felt judged or treated differently because of where you live, do you think?
Living in this place,
Yeah.
is it? No.
No.
I've never known anyone that came to visit me, they can't get over it. They want to come in here themselves.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I can see why they would. It's a beautiful place
Yeah.
to live. So you haven't really experienced that stigma?
I haven't, no,
No,
I haven't.
okay.
Only trying to get a place in the
Yes.
beginning.
Yeah.
That was horrendous too.
Yeah. So do you think that stigma associated with social housing has changed over the years? Do you think people are more accepting now of it?
I don't know, should I even go into that? No.
No,
It
go on.
is like we all know what's going on now with housing, unfortunately. Our own aren't getting them at all, you know, which I'm sure they must be in desperate state. I know a girl now that was waiting 15 years. She had 3 children and she only got a house last week, you know. So, I mean, things like that, it hasn't changed much that way, you know. Their priorities are wrong.
Okay. So what kind of a community was here when you moved in? Do you remember, did you feel you were coming to a place where you'd be with friends, or did you feel very separate when you came here first?
Well, I felt very separate when I came, first of all, you know, and I even said to my daughter, I don't think I'm going to stay here, you know. But then, and even the scheme manager, she said, Margaret, you will love it here, you know. And I said, I don't know. She said, I'll come back to you in a month's time and you tell me. Sure, I was after meeting a few people then, as you know, you've met them yourself, and it's one laugh after a minute, one laugh a minute. So, I mean, there's no way would I move out now. You know, we have a great rapport and great times. So it's lovely.
So I suppose like what you're saying to me is the people make a big difference.
A big difference,
Yeah,
a big difference, yeah.
Okay. So are there any neighbours or people who really made a difference to your experience of living here?
There are.
Go on, tell me.
Do you want me to name them?
If you like, or...
Well, I have Peggy and John they're two very important people in my life now. And then a few of the others now have, a couple of years, we've got together with them, and we have a lovely, every Friday night now we have a fish and chip night down in the day room, and there's about 6 to 8 people join us, you know. So, I mean, yes, they're important in my life now, because they're very good. You know that if you're in trouble, you can call any one of those and they'll come to your aid. So, yeah.
That makes a big difference.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Rather than being secluded on your own in your own apartment, it must be awful, you know.
Great. And what kind of things do you have here to help build a sense of community?
Well, we have beautiful gardens that we all participate in at times. And yeah, we do, as I say, we do that on a Friday night. We do yoga classes sometimes. And, you know, we kind of would go down to the village now, to the boot sale. A crowd of us maybe walk around there. And, yeah, you know, we do a few things. Oh, yeah, we've come lately, we're going to Killarney, 5 or 6 of us, and staying for 2. We used to stay one night, that wasn't enough. We've increased it to 2 nights now. So we're going again in October, please God. Yeah,
Great.
so
it sounds like you make your own bit of fun and
we do.
Get together.
My daughter says that I have a better social life than she has now. Maybe there might be a talk on something and we'd have a coffee morning, we'd make a few cakes and have that. And sometimes we might walk around the lake to look at all the flowers, if there was somebody coming down about that, looking at the wildlife and being told not to cut your grass and all that, you know, and leave the wildlife get into it.
Yeah.
So we have things like that, we do.
And does that help when you have like somebody come in to talk or do a demonstration or
it
do
does.
some crafts? Is
Yeah.
it an excuse for people maybe to
get together? Yes, but all in all, not very many do participate. That's the only thing here. There's a few people that don't participate, and you know, which is sad. You know, I mean, during COVID, we used to do the gardens, John, Peggy, and I, and a few others, and even the people that couldn't come out, they used to be on their balcony watching us and listening to us laughing. Used to be laughing for the whole time, and they thought it was great, you know, because we were in our own unit there and we could mix together, you see. So it was great.
Great. So how important has a sense of belonging been for you here? It sounds like what you're telling me, it was the most
very
important thing almost.
Very, very important, yes, definitely. Yeah.
And if you could extend that to other people, obviously I hear what you're saying to me, that it's the same few who turn up and do
Yes.
things. If you could...
We've tried to ask them. We've when we were doing the garden ourselves, we had notices up, we asked them to come and help us and we'll have a laugh and all that, you know. We used to be out from 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 at night during the summer, you know. We'd have our food out there and everything. But they didn't get involved, you see.
That's hard then, isn't it, when you're...
It must be harder for them. Just know that they have no one to talk to,
Yeah.
you know. They're secluded, which is a shame.
What do you wish people understood about life in social housing?
I suppose, gosh, I don't know, really.
Like, you obviously enjoy living here. Do you think people understand? Do you think people have the wrong idea about who lives in social housing sometimes? Do they kind of...
I don't ever come across that now, to be honest, you know.
Yeah.
I don't see anything like, I mean, I know there's new houses going up everywhere and the council are getting a lot of those houses, but at the end of the day, it's still social housing, no matter where it's going to be. You're lucky, I suppose, if you get one in a lovely estate. But I mean, I think neighbours mean everything, you know, that, and some people, if they're on their own, I mean, it must be very sad that you have no one to talk to. Whereas here, we know that there are some main few here that you can always go to, you know.
Great. And here you have a kind of a ready-made community. and maybe you're thrown together a bit more than you would if you were in housing estates.
Well, that's it, you see, you would be. I mean, people that move into housing estates, I suppose, they don't really get involved with each other, you know, whereas here, I suppose we're all under the one roof, as you could say, which you're bound to meet people in and out all the time, you know, which is great, and you'll always say good morning to everyone, and, you know, you
So
always
people
get
are
it
friendly
back. They are,
general.
in general, they're all very friendly, they are. They are.
And what do you think about age-friendly housing like this, as opposed to people who might be in a council house or 3-bedroomed house that they had when their children were young, and then they get to an older age and they're still there?
Yes.
As opposed to this kind of a facility. Like, do you think it's a good move for people?
I think it would be a great move, definitely, you know. I mean, I suppose what would you want in a 3-bedroom house if there's only one of you there, or two, and all your kids gone, you know? I mean, I do think this is a great idea, this age-friendly housing. I suppose security would be one thing, you know, and it doesn't cost as much to run a house, a 3-bedroom house, as it would be here. Or vice versa, sorry, the other way around. Yeah. It would be cheaper to be here than to be running a 3-bedroom house. And you could be a bit away from the town if you were in an estate, whereas like here we're in the village and you've got Aldi on your doorstep and a short trot down to the village, everything else, you know. Yeah, I think it would be a great idea for people, kind of, if you can downsize. I mean, if you hand back a property to the council, they'll give you something smaller, obviously. You know, I know a few people that have done that.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could see that as a good thing.
Yes, I do. Yeah. I would really.
I suppose a lot less responsibility too.
It is.
For an older person when you can't manage to maintain a big house.
That's it. And upstairs, if you're going up and downstairs, people aren't able for that now when you get to a certain age, you know.
Of course, you have the lifts
we have a lift here. We have everything. That's why it's like a hotel, really. You know, I can't say enough good things about it.
If you could send a message to decision makers or the developers about housing, what would it be? Obviously, build more houses. Would you like to see more of this?
More of this, yes. Have in every building site, have something like this. In every housing, I think there should be something like this. I know they have apartments in some of them, but they have steps up to, my God, they're a mile up. You know, people can't do that, older people. Yeah. Something like this. Actually, I think they're building another block over here now. Oh, yeah, they are. Onto this block, yeah.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, but I mean, if there's supposed to be 750 houses going here now in Carrig within the next 6 years. They've started already. If they had a block like this in one part of it, for the age-friendly, it'll take them off the housing list, you know, and it would be wonderful for them. Yeah.
So what stories or lessons need to be remembered from your experience, I suppose, about you had to be very patient there for a few years, didn't you?
I did.
At the start when you were trying to get your family home, and then
that's right.
Trying to get in here. You had a long wait. Was it very hard?
It was. I thought it would never come. Yeah, but I had great faith, and I prayed, and I knew eventually that it would come right for me, you know. And yeah, you do have to have patience.
So when you got sick, so your husband passed away and then you got sick.
Yes.
And how long was it before you moved in here?
Before I moved in here, well, my husband died in 2014.
Okay.
I had cancer 6 months after that.
Oh my goodness.
And I got the all clear, thank God, in 2016. And then I was in between places, then I had no place. So I moved in here in 2019. So I waited 3 years, which was, I suppose at the time it seemed a long time when you'd have no place. And I had luggage, I got rid of everything. Do you know, I couldn't be taking things around to other people's houses. So I had actually got rid of everything that I ever had, you know, which was sad, but look.
Must have been a hard time. Those were hard 3 years.
They
you
were.
Lost your husband and then you'd been really ill.
That's it. And then I was homeless.
Very unsettling, isn't it?
Very unsettling. I thought that, you know, and you'd have the banks after you to settle your mortgage and all that. And I often thought, oh my God, with the suicide rate in this country. A lot of it is that pressure from them, you know. And I thought, you ain't getting me that way, no matter how long I have to wait, you know. Which, thank God, you know, it all worked out in the end.
Brilliant. I think when you're in the best of your health, it's one thing.
It's hard enough then, even,
when,
you know.
When you're in a difficult situation, it's really hard. Okay. Last question. You'll be glad to see me go.
Not at all.
Any funny story about this place or your Clwyd experience? Any funny story you want to leave me with?
Oh my goodness. Funny story. I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
No
But
worries.
life is one big laugh in here, all I can tell you. And you'll see that now when you meet the rest of them, as you know. Well,
you have quite a little team.
We have.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. And that's all we do is laugh, I swear. It is.
It's a great tonic.
It's a great tonic. And it's true saying laughter is the best medicine.
Absolutely, that's for sure. Well, thank you very much, Margaret, for all your help
Not
and all
at
your
all.
answers.
It was my pleasure, Eileen.
And we'll see you again.
Thank you very much.